Whenever we are thinking of buying a flat, what we do? We see a map, try to visualize how it looks like. If not, we go to a particular site, try to see and visualize that what kind of flat it will be. Many a time it happens that the builder makes a sample flat. We go there, we see it may not be to the actual specification, but it gives an idea that what kind of flat finally it will be. Because based on that, we decide whether it is a right place to live or not. Something similar happens in APQP also. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the second phase of APQP, which is about product design and development. By the time you will end this video, you will understand what are the 13 different points with respect to product design and development. What are the key challenges that industry is facing? What are the key inputs which are there for the phase 2? And what are the benefits industry can get in case they effectively implement phase 2? Well, in my previous video, I talked about APQP third edition, where I talked about the first phase, that is about plan and define. So there are 11 key outputs coming from the plan and define output. In case you want to know more about it, you can see my previous video. Now all those 11 inputs becomes the output with respect to the phase 2. Now in phase 2, primarily the intent is that all those organizations who are doing the product design, they are entitled or maybe they are relevant to go for the phase 2. Now, when we talk about design responsibility, generally the question comes that how do we know that whether we are design responsible or not? So basically we can ask two simple questions. The first question is that when a customer is giving you a drawing, are you allowed to make any change in the drawing, or you have to just make your product based on the drawing which is given by the customer? If it is like that, it means customer is design responsible. Now there is a second point. The customer has given some specification, some guidelines, some technical specification. Now based on that, you are creating your own design as an organization, and based on that you are creating a product, and you have a choice to make any changes in that. If that is so, it means the organization is design responsible and not the customer. So based on that, it can be decided whether phase 2 is relevant or not. Even if a company is not design responsible, still the organization should be aware about the phase 2, because so many things which are coming out from phase 2 to phase 3, that will be more clear if the organization is aware about phase 2. So let's understand, as per APQP third edition, which came in March 2024, what are the 13 points which are there in phase 2. So the first point is with respect to design failure and effect analysis. Now when we talk about design failure and effect analysis, we are talking about that in case we are making this particular car. So what can be the possible design failures which can come in the car, and how to anticipate in earlier. And maybe in the previous experience we must have seen that these are the failures which may have happened in the previous design. So what needs to be done with respect to that? So for example, it could be as simple as fuel efficiency. Now in India, fuel efficiency is given a lot of importance. So what needs to be taken care, and what are the possible reasons which can impact the fuel efficiency can be a failure mode. Another point here is with respect to design for manufacturability, assembly and service. Now assume that we have made a design and now we are putting up in production, but we are not able to do it because the design is so complicated. Now even if we could make it, maybe when it is going to the service part and we want to change any part, we are finding it very difficult. Say for example, let's take example, maybe there is a battery inside. First of all, you are finding it difficult to put the battery at that time of assembly. Now when we have to change the battery, so at that time it is very difficult to remove the battery and put in the battery. It means design may be very good, quality may be very good, but actually the implementation part is very difficult. The next point is talking with respect to design verification. Now here, when we talk about any customer, the customer gives so many inputs with respect to their product, that what they want in their product. Now based on that, the organization makes their own drawing, technical specification. So in that, it is important to verify that whatever inputs that are coming from the customer, whether everything has been incorporated into the design or not. So for example, let's take example of airbag. Now it's mandatory that there should be a couple of airbags in the front and in the back. Now whether the organization at the time of design has incorporated all those requirements which are part of legal requirement in the car or not. Then the next point is with respect to the design review. Now design review is not only limited only with respect to phase 2, it is in phase 1, 3, 4 and 5 too. But when we talk in context of phase 2, the intent is that whatever changes are happening, how we are taking care with respect to that? Whatever targets are being set, are we reviewing that or not? Say, for example, there's a target with respect to Q, C, and D, quality, cost, and delivery. So whatever is required till this phase 2, are we taking care with respect to that, or there is some delay, or maybe the cost is escalating or not? All those points come into picture. Then another important aspect in this particular phase is talking with respect to prototype build control plan. Now, this is a very, very important aspect. One of the key aspects of phase 2 is with respect to the prototyping. So before making a complete vehicle, we just create a prototype, try to see that how will it look, what will be the different features, maybe how will be the alignment, all those things are being seen. So let's take an example with respect to fitment of bumper. Say, for example, if you see it here, there's a bumper here. So maybe in prototyping, we may make some wooden samples or something like that, or maybe some rapid prototyping, and we try to put it in the vehicle, try to see that whether the alignment is good, whether the fitment is good, and there can be many more things that needs to be done at the time of prototyping. And based on that, we need to create a control plan also. Then another important aspect here is with respect to engineering drawing, which includes the metadata. So primarily here we are talking with respect to all those things which are with respect to the drawing part. So drawing, maybe some specifications are coming from the customer. Based on that, the organization is creating their own drawing. And then whatever CAD data is there, we have to visualize that whether it is fulfilling to the requirement or not. So for example, there is a door panel here. So we also need to see that how is the alignment with respect to the other part of the body, and how is that overall flow, the vehicle look is there. All those things become a part of that. The next point is with respect to the engineering specification. Now, engineering specification primarily talks about what the product must do, what should be the performance of the vehicle. These days we are talking a lot with respect to the electric vehicle, and in electric vehicle the biggest challenge is with respect to what is the efficiency, that whether it will run 300 kilometers or 400 or 500 kilometers in one charging. So those things become very important integral part with respect to the engineering specifications. Then the next is with respect to the material specification. Now, apart from the vehicle that we are trying to make, we also try to see that what are the different technical specifications with respect to the material that we are using. Let's take as simple as, if you see broadly a vehicle, it's made up of two key things. One is sheet metal, other is plastic. Now, for any sheet metal part, what should be the thickness? That's the important part. Then what can be the quality of that particular sheet so that it can withstand the different tests? So that's an important indicator. The next point is with respect to drawings and specification changes. Now it's an ever changing word. It's not that whatever has been decided in the beginning, whatever input that has been given by the customer, they remain same. They keep on changing. So for example, in the beginning, the bulb that we designed, we may have thought that it will give that kind of output, but then we realize that it is not giving that, so we have to change the specification of the bulb so that we can get the desired intensity of the light. Another important aspect is with respect to new equipment, tooling and facility equipment. Now these days with changing time, we also need to look into that what are the new equipments, test equipment we are required. As simple as that, in a vehicle if you see there are so many electronic components. So maybe for that we need a clean room where we need to keep it, we need to assemble it so that we get the desired quality. So that can be an example of that. Then the next point here is with respect to special product and process characteristics. Now when we talk about a vehicle, in a vehicle many parts are important, but there are certain things, if it is not right, then it can impact the entire vehicle. Let's take an example of wheel alignment. Now vehicle is very good, it looks fantastic, the average is good, but when the vehicle is running, the alignment is not good, and that is not giving a good feeling to the person who is driving. So that can be an example with respect to that. Then next is talking with respect to gauges, testing, equipment requirement. Now, whenever we are making a vehicle, there are so many testing equipment and gauges which are required, maybe for testing, maybe for inspection, maybe with respect to producing the part. So we have to think about all this. Let's take an example of a horn. Now, horn is a very integral part, at least in India. Now, we also need to see that how much is the decibel of the horn which is coming out and whether it is meeting the specification or not. That can be an example with respect to that. And certainly the last and the most important point is with respect to team feasibility commitment and the management support. Now, without top management commitment, nothing is possible. Without regularly reviewing that what has been decided, whether it has been achieved or not, it's not possible to ensure that whatever we have decided in this particular phase, whether we can achieve it or not. So top management involvement is very, very important, and there are so many changes which is happening in industry. So for example, these days a lot in India we're talking about 20% ethanol mixing. Now, when we are talking about that, what is a management commitment? How much management is interested to invest in clean fuel? So all those things can become a part of that. Now that brings another important aspect, that is with respect to what are the benefits that an organization can get in case they effectively implement the phase 2. The first thing is with respect to the robust design, that whatever design that we have decided in this particular phase, that is going to give the right output. Another thing can be with respect to manufacturability and assembly, that it will make the life simpler at the time of shop floor and it is easy to make that particular product. And there can be many more benefits which you can think about. It could be about risk reduction, it could be effective resource planning, about improving the reliability and quality, and certainly with respect to the management commitment. Now we talked all the good things. Now let's talk about some of the industry challenges. So there are so many challenges with respect to the APQP process which the industry is facing. Now talking in context of the second phase. The first is with respect to the prototyping. Now prototyping is a most important criteria, or you can say a factor in phase 2. How often organizations are actually making a prototype? I have personally seen many vehicles which are coming to the market, looks very great in terms of their performance with respect to branding and everything, but then maybe in appearance they look so bad that the vehicle fails. So how much focus is being given at the time of prototyping to make sure that whatever product is coming out, that fulfills the expectation of the customer? Then second point which I talked earlier is with respect to the design responsibility. In general, there is a lot of confusion in industry that whether we are design responsible or not. So that also creates a lot of confusion and delay in everything. And then certainly the third most important point is with respect to the top management commitment. In the beginning, when the project comes, management is very much committed, involved, but after a while, they just expect the team to take care of. And then the problem starts. The quality goes down, the cost increases, and the delivery always delays. So the top management involvement is a big challenge there. So if I do a summary, I talked about the 11 inputs from phase 1, which is about plan and design. Then I talked about the 13 key points with respect to the phase 2, and depending upon whether you are design responsible or not, you have to decide that which are the points which are applicable. Then I also talked with respect to the key benefits the organization can get, and in the last I talked about what are the challenges that industry is facing with respect to phase 2. My next video will be with respect to the phase 3, which is talking about the process design and development. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they're helping me to understand your expectations. Please do continue that. In case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below. If you click that, you'll find a blog there. There you'll find this information in much more detail. And in case you're liking these kind of blogs and videos, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website bhavyamangla.com. I also got another channel, Life Lessons with Bhavya Mangla. In case you want to explore more about life, you can go through that and you can subscribe to that channel too. Thank you.